Assalamualaikum students and a very good morning to all of you. How are you all? Hope all of you are doing well. So kids, welcome to the class again. I am your science teacher and my name is Nida Sahar. So the first chapter that we had started from our science book was how plants live. In this chapter we had learned different things about the plants. Let's give a quick review to the topics we have discussed in our previous class. In our previous class, we had discussed the types of plants. Types of plants on the basis of their habitat. On the basis of their habitat, there are two main types of plants. Number 1, terrestrial plants. Number 2, aquatic plants. Do you remember what are terrestrial plants? Terrestrial plants are those plants that grow on land like deserts, forests, mountains, plains, grasslands, etc. The example of such plants are mango tree, pine tree, coconut, mesquite bush, cactus, mangrove, and many more. So, what are aquatic plants? Aquatic plants are those plants that grow in water, like oceans, seas, rivers, lakes, ponds. The example of such plants are lotus, duckweed, tape grass, pondweed, water lily, and many others. As I have discussed earlier, what are terrestrial plants? Plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. Most of the plants grow on land. They can be found on cold hilly areas, warmer climate, hot and wet places, deserts, marshy or coastal areas. And I'm sure you remember the examples of plants of these places that grow in these areas. So let's get started with our today's topic, that is aquatic plants. What are aquatic plants? Plants that grow in water are called aquatic plants. Like they can grow in oceans, seas, rivers, ponds, lakes. So how many types of aquatic plants are there? There are 3 main types of aquatic plants. How many types of aquatic plants? 3 main types of aquatic plants. Number 1, floating plants. Number 2, fixed plants. Number 3, underwater plants. So what are aquatic plants? The plants that grow in water are called aquatic plants, and there are 3 types of aquatic plants. Number 1, floating plants. Number 2, fixed plants. Number 3, underwater plants. Now we are going to discuss them one by one. So let's begin with the floating plants. As their name indicates, these plants float on the surface of water. Because they are very light-weighted, these plants float on the surface of the water. Let's discuss their characteristics or their features one by one. They are very light. Because they float on the surface of the water, that's why they have very light bodies that float on the surface of the water. They have swollen or spongy bodies. Okay, floating plants may have roots that hang in water. but the plant is not attached to the bottom. Means they have roots that hang in the water, but their roots are not attached to the bottom pond. Gas exchange occurs through the top surface of the leaf. What does that mean? What is meant by gas exchange? As you all know that plants release oxygen gas and they absorbs carbon dioxide gas. So this exchange of gas occurs through the top surface of the leaf. Right? The examples of such plants are water hyacinth and duckweed. As you can see in the first picture, this is water hyacinth and this is duckweed. That's how these plants look like. So this is water hyacinth. It has flattened leaves and the upper part of the purple flowers have blue and yellow markings. So the second type of aquatic plants are the fixed plants. Let's discuss their characteristics one by one. They have roots that fix them to the bed of the pond. Like they have roots that fix the plant in the mud at the bottom of the pond. That's why they are known as fixed aquatic plants. Roots of such plants are fixed in the soil at the bottom of the pond. They have long hollow stems which are very light. They have soft, long hollow. Hollow means empty from inside, which makes them very light. So they have long, soft and hollow stems which are very light. They have broad leaves that float on the surface of water. As you can see in the pictures, their leaves are slightly different from the other plants. They have broad leaves that float on the surface of the water. When we talk about their flowers, the flowers of these plants are always found on the water surface. So both of their leaves and their flowers float on the surface of water. The leaves have small pores through which they breathe. Like the exchange of gases takes place through the small pores on their leaves. The examples of such plants are lotus and water lily. As you can see in the first picture, this is the lotus plant. This is the beautiful lotus plant. And in the second picture, this is water lily. They have beautiful flowers and leaves. So here is another view of the beautiful plant lotus. As you can see how beautifully it is blooming, and the leaves and the flower, they are floating on the surface of water. The third type of aquatic plants are underwater plants. Let's discuss their features one by one. These plants have long narrow leaves with no pores. As you can see in both of the pictures, these plants have long and narrow leaves with no pores. As you all know that all types of leaves have pores on them through which the exchange of gases take place. But the distinct feature of these plants is that these plants do not have pores on them. They breathe through their body surface. Because the leaves of these plants do not have pores, That's why the exchange of gases takes place through the whole body surface. So these plants breathe through their body surface. They get water and carbon dioxide from their aquatic environment. These plants, as you all know, that plants need water and carbon dioxide to grow, to live. So these plants get water and carbon dioxide from their aquatic environment inside the water. They can get water and carbon dioxide under the water. These plants still get their energy from the sun because sunlight can pass through water. Okay, as you all know that plants need sunlight, water and carbon dioxide to grow, to live. So the energy which they require to live, they still get it from the sun because sunlight can pass through water. The examples of such plants are: number 1, tape grass. As you can see, it has long narrow leaves. And the other example is pondweed. This is pondweed. So this is tape grass. As you can see, it has long and narrow leaves. These leaves arise from their roots. They are about an inch wide and can be several feet long. So students, that is all about aquatic plants. Now what you have to do, you are going to read the page number 6 thoroughly. You have to underline the main points, and I'm sure after watching this video and after reading the chapter thoroughly, you would be able to answer: number 1, what are aquatic plants? Number 2, how many types of aquatic plants are there? Number 3, can you define or can you tell the features of floating, fixed and underwater plants? And number 4, can you give 2 examples of each kind? So students, before starting your written work, you have to label your classwork and homework copy. This is your science copy. It is 4-line interleaf copy, as I have mentioned earlier. You are going to write your name, class, section and subject. And the most important thing, you are going to write your roll number over here, which has been given to you with your result. So students, here are your book exercises. I am going to explain you that how you are going to do them. On page number 5, there are exercises 1 and 2. So exercise 1 is put a tick for true and a cross for false, and give a reason for your answer. So number 1 is all plants have same kind of body parts. What do you think? All plants have same kind of body parts? No, plants have body parts according to their habitat. Number 2, evergreen trees grow in hot and wet places. What are evergreen trees? Evergreen trees are those which do not shed their leaves and they grow throughout the year. Yes, they grow in such places because that climate is suitable to grow throughout the year. Number 3, in cactus the stem is like a sponge. Yes, because its stem acts like a sponge because cactus stores water in its stem. Now the 4th one, some desert plants have roots that go very deep in the ground. Yes, it is also true. As if you remember, we have discussed it that the mesquite bush has roots that go deep around 30 meters in the ground. Okay, now the 5th one, Underwater plants breathe through their leaves. No, because they do not have pores. Their leaves do not have pores. They breathe through their body surfaces. Now there is an exercise to name these, and I'm sure you all will be able to answer these. So number 1, plants growing on land. Yes, obviously terrestrial plants. B, plants do not shed their leaves. Evergreen plants. C, plants growing in water. Aquatic plants. D, some plants have them instead of flowers. Do you remember which plants are these? The plants that grow in cold and hilly areas. Yes, they grow cones instead of flowers. So here comes the exercise 3. Where are these plants normally found? Here are the names of some plants and you have to tell in which places they grow. I am just going to tell you two. Rest of them you are going to do by yourselves. Number 1 is deodar. Where does it grow? Deodar grows in cold and hilly areas. So you are going to write here cold and hilly areas. Number 2 is the coconut plant. It grows in hot and wet places. So here you are going to write hot and wet places. That's how you are going to do this exercise. So here comes the exercise 4. This is on page number 6. Name 2 plants in each case. You have to write the names of 2 plants in each case. Number 1 is desert plants. Can you name any 2 desert plants? Mesquite bush and cactus. You are going to write them over here. That's how you are going to do this exercise. Number 2, plants growing in warmer plains. Mango tree and peepal tree. Number 3, floating plants. Water hyacinth, duckweed, as I have discussed in this lecture. Underwater plants, tape grass and pondweed. E, cone bearing plants, pine, deodar, all the plants which grow in cold hilly areas. And the last one is evergreen plants, the plants that do not shed their leaves. Coconut and teak. So students, that is all for the today's lecture. I hope everything is very clear to you about this chapter. In the next lecture, we will start our new chapter, that is how plants make food. Till then, all of you stay home, stay safe and study hard. See you in the next class. Take care and Allah Hafiz.